nepomene a budeme chtít, aby to potvrdili úplně všichni. Markus, go for.
It's time for the officials, ladies and gentlemen. They are very, very important for this competition. So please give it up for our judge, Andy Hall from the United Kingdom.
All right, as we've just seen our stage hosts, Markus Lot and Miroslav Lenic, along with our event expert, Dave Jewett, and now we are going to introduce some very important individuals coming out onto the stage now. The judges, Andy Hall just rolled out onto the stage. He'll be one of the on-stage judges, along with Bart Janssen, who is coming out right now. Bart also a key individual when it comes to providing the wood for these events as well, isn't that right?
The wood master, yeah. This competition is usually deemed it has some of the finest quality timber that you've seen anywhere in a competition in the world. Bart Janssen puts months and months of preparation into it, and we might even see a few more world records go down this year.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting. And of course, we've got those two guys that are going to be our on-stage judges, but there's a lot more people behind the scenes. We, of course, have the competition control center, what you're looking at right there on screen. Now here, they have high-speed cameras set up all over the stage to make sure that you guys that are competing are keeping it fair. And we see Dr. Jörg Kurzenberger and STIHL Janssen. I have trouble saying that name every single time. I hope I said it right.
Yeah, the old CCC there is very instrumental. You see a lot of races come down to hundredths of a second and possible disqualifications as well. That's what it's there for, as you see our fan favorite global sports director, Spike Milton, come to the stage.
Fan favorite. I've sat in a cabin a few times with him doing commentary. He is a lot of fun. Nice to see him in a position where he can really blossom and help the sport of timber sports really grow as well.
Looking quite slim this year as well.
Yes, he's taken off a few pounds.
Well, he's I think he's gained a missus as well. That might be the home cooking and maybe a few tightening of the belt loops.
Proper food and so on and so forth. Yeah, good for him.
Please cheer and shout and watch the big screens.
So now we get to introduce our athletes to you out there. Now, a few years ago in Austria at the Champions Trophy in the Junior World Championship, Braden Myers showed up and everyone was just blown away by how quickly he worked the axe on the underhand chop, and just a fantastic speed that he has on that particular discipline. And since then, everybody else has had to play catch-up to Braden in this case.
Yeah, just 24 years of age. I believe he's still our current world record holder in underhand chop at 12.39. And if anybody's going to beat that record today, it's probably only going to be Braden Myers.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We've seen a lot of guys coming up through the ranks that have taken that style of Braden Myers with the really quick axe swing and brought it to the next level. We just see Koen Martens from Belgium coming onto the stage here. He's a man with a lot of experience, and of course, you know this guy, Ben Cumberland from Team Canada.
Captain Canada.
Captain Canada.
The big dog. We're expecting big things out of Ben Cumberland this year.
Ben Cumberland.
Cool as a cucumber. He's here, he's just enjoying it. You know, I've never seen somebody for their first time on an individual world stage just be able to soak it all in and truly enjoy the event. I'm super excited to see what Ben puts on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guy that we really had a lot of fun watching in Marseille at the Champions Trophy a couple of years back is this man, Pierre Puibaret from France. A guy that looks so serious all the time, but actually has a bit of a funny bone.
Yeah, he's a great guy, perennial French champion. And, you know, he's got the experience to really do some damage, especially in that format that we've got going this year for the World Championships.
Now, that format we'll talk about a little bit later on after we've made all these introductions. There's a lot of stuff going on this year, a few changes, but, yeah, it's going to make things a lot more interesting. Representing Great Britain now, coming out is Elgin Pugh.
Yeah, Elgin Pugh is also many times Great Britain champion.
Please welcome Elgin
Yeah, we saw a lot of good stuff from him in Liverpool. He had a ton of support in Liverpool last year as well in 2018. So nice to see him back in the mix here at the World Championship.
9. na mistrovství světa z roku 2017 a bude chtít rozhodně ještě víc. To je Brit, kterému teď patří vaše pozornost.
All right, another athlete coming in from Germany, Danny Marr. He'll be joining us on stage as well.
Now you talk about somebody that's had a chance to earn their way here. Danny Marr has been second or third in that German championship so many times. I don't think words can explain how happy he is to finally get his shot at a world title.
Yeah, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Well, this time he's going to be up there wearing that big white dress and battling on behalf of Germany as he has made it to the World Championship.
Now here might be a name that not a lot of people know in the New Zealand STIHL Timbersports World stage, but Shane Jordan,
yeah,
one of the favorites to take the whole thing.
Yeah, they battled hard in the team championship last night, and boy, I was really impressed at New Zealand. Some new faces there for me, and Shane Jordan was one of them. Like unbelievable speed by all of the boys out there, and it was nice to have some of those new faces, and Shane will be representing New Zealand this year.
Yeah, Shane's got a lot of experience. He's cut for his home country of New Zealand on the international stage, overseas, everywhere for upwards of 10 to 15 years, so he has the experience. You know the nerves aren't going to get to him, but it's just a matter of what everybody else does.
All right, last night in the team competition, we saw Poland surprise a lot of people. Every single time that they hit was under a minute. They were unbelievable, and representing Team Poland and the Polish side this year is Michał Dubicki, a big boy, a strong competitor. Let's see how he'll do with that push that they had last night. In 4th place overall in the team competition, they got to be satisfied with that, with the way they performed.
Yeah, you know, when you look at everybody else on stage here, and they're going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage against Michael, because Michael was actually not born on this planet. It's something about the planet Krypton or along those lines, half man, half amazing. You'll see him go straight through a block with about as much penetration as the rest of us can get with some slope. One of the most amazing physical specimens I've ever seen, and one of the nicest guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next coming out representing Switzerland. He's got plenty of fans in the audience as well. Christoph Geisler. He is he's a granddaddy caddy out there. He's been around this sport for a long, long time.
And like everything else that's come out of Switzerland along with the watches, the man knows what he's doing, and he's perfect in every aspect. Predictable, reliable. You know, he doesn't have the blistering times, but he's always going to be right there if you make a mistake.
Yeah, he is not one to mess around with, and you know if he's on your back, you got to be careful. All right. One of those guys coming out of the junior ranks who has been absolutely incredible the last few years, coming up through all of those competitions to finally make it to the World Championship stage. From Sweden, Ferry Swan.
Yeah, it's really exciting, you know. You've got Ben Cumberland, Ferry Swan. You've got some guys that actually won the Rookie World Championship, and now you've seen them battle their way through their national championships to make it to this world stage. So it's great to see the sport keep moving forward in that aspect.
One of the best haircuts at the competition this weekend.
Whoa,
sorry.
You seen this thing?
Yep, I've seen it. I won't say anything more. But Cassidy Shear, I mean, this guy is full of confidence, and he says he's here to win. He wants to win, and he absolutely has the confidence to win. The question is, a lot of people are talking about his skill level. Is it there with the rest of these world-class athletes?
Yeah, business in the front, party in the back for Cassidy Shear. But Cassidy, one of the smartest athletes I have ever met in my life. He has analyzed every single aspect of this competition. A lot of people come in, they train to chop wood, they train to saw wood. Cassidy trained to win this competition. You know, he's only been in that US series for 2 years. It took him 2 years to win. He took down 6-time defending champion Matt Koger, so he's not to be counted out.
All right, so the local hero representing the Czech Republic, Martin Rusal.
And you know what, Martin Rusal, you know, it might be different to a lot of people to see somebody up here other than Martin Komarek, the first Czech athlete to finally dethrone Martin Komarek. So, you know, he's got some big shoes to fill, but anybody that can take down Komarek must have the tools to get the job done.
And Komarek has nothing to prove. He is a legend in the sport here, absolutely beloved by the fans. And Martin Rusal is going to, like you say, have some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, you know, Martin Roussel, I've trained with him, watched him compete many times coming overseas, and he's right there in every single event. None of these athletes on stage got here by accident.
Absolutely
You cannot fluke out and get here. He earned his spot.
And there he is coming into the arena. Massive ovation from the audience here.
Yeah, if you're not here live, the hairs on my arm just stood up as he entered this stadium at 2,000 strong. These are some of the most enthusiastic fans I've seen in years. They love this sport. They love their hometown athlete, Martin Roussel, and it's going to be really exciting to watch this competition go forward with their hometown athlete having a good chance to possibly take home a title.
Absolutely. So that is our 12th athlete coming up onto the stage. Our starting order we'll tell you all about shortly, as we will also give you the breakdown of how this competition is going to go through. There'll be 3 rounds leading to the final, which is, of course, a fan favorite for everybody, but maybe not a favorite for some of the athletes, and that's the hot saw. And I remember you telling me you had a love-hate relationship with the motor saws for a while, but then
it's just a hate now. Yeah, we're not really talking much anymore.
Yeah. But it's interesting because that love-hate relationship for some has become, you know, an interesting dynamic when it comes to competing here, as that's very often the deciding event.
If I look out there right now, I know for a fact that about 3, 4, 5 of those athletes are here because the previous champion made a mistake in the hot saw, and that allowed them to leapfrog in. And so there you see the change in the system, bringing forward new athletes, fresh blood, and that's what we also love to see. And it's a different competition. You come here to win this competition, and that's it. And that's what these guys have done. They specialized. They've come here to take home a world title.
Well, it's all about the battle, and we are going to join those battles shortly. And now they're going to head back, get themselves prepared.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please watch. Just so you know what's happening, here comes
STIHL Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all 12 athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The athletes who achieve the fastest times receive the most points. The 4 athletes with the lowest score after the first round are eliminated. In the second round, there are more points on offer, where the remaining 8 athletes take on the single block and springboard. 6 athletes with the highest points after these disciplines qualify for the last round. In the final round, the athletes compete in the hot saw, where there are 18 points available, everything still to play for. The athlete with the most points after all 6 rounds is crowned the Timbersports Individual World Champion.
next on your big screens, all information about tool and discipline.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It is custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it is about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you can shave with it.
In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut with an axe through a 32 centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
right, here we go. The Individual World Championship 2019 here in Prague in the Czech Republic at the Industrial Palace begins now with our first heat in the first round, and that is the underhand chop, which you just heard about, with Martin Rusal representing the Czech Republic going up against Koen Martens from Belgium. And of course, Martin Rusal is going to have the hometown and advantage because of the fans in here just giving him that much extra energy.
Yeah, and we're about to see an amazing race. Both of these athletes actually have identical personal best times at 25 seconds. So it's great that we're going to see the hometown hero come up first, and we're also going to see a great race. We're going to get this crowd fired up. And what it's also going to do is allow the other athletes to see the consistency of the timber. So they're going to make a decision of how they're going to chop it as well.
And you can hear that crowd in the background screaming as they see Martin go up on stage. He will be wearing the white jersey, stage left on stand 1 or stand A, depending on what school you come from. And on stage right, that is stand B, or stand 2 is Belgium's Koen Martens. Now, Koen Martens, based on the times here, it's really like hundredths of a second difference, but Koen Martens has just about 8 hundredths of a second faster times on the underhand chop. Let's see if Martin Rusal can pick up the pace here today. Here we go.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good start for Martin Rusal. Martin Koen's got a little bit of a hookup on his axe. It's going to be interesting to see. Rusal so far has been clean on each of his hits, slapping those out nicely. Oh, Rusal steps down, or Martin Koen steps down, and he has a little bit of trouble. Looks like this one's definitely going to go to Rusal. Let's see what that time looks like for these guys. A quick hookup for Rusal, and the last blow should do it for him with a pretty nice time of 24:44. Martin Koen's, or Koen Martens, excuse me, gets it in 25:29. Now the times that you see on the board up there on the main stage are only unofficial times until we get the final call from the judges, but that was a good heat by Martin Rusal and a great start for him today.
Yeah, we're just having the judges look over there. Now these athletes can be disqualified in a couple of ways. If they do jump the gun, there will be a flag and a 15-second penalty as well. Those footholds that you see on top of the block, if they happen to cut into one of those, another 15-second penalty. You saw some solid cuts, both 25 seconds, exactly what we expected, but a couple of miscues by each athlete. So we'll see how that happens when everything shakes down.
Both cuts are good.
All right, so both cuts qualify, and these guys have a personal best on Martin Rusal's side. That's very good for him.
It is, but both of those guys should have come off about 4 to 5 seconds earlier almost. You'll see Martin Rusal here has a very quick cadence, and the axe did not stick in the block, which was good. Both athletes put a 10-hit front in that log before turning around, so you saw him turn around nearly identical time. Now, on Martin Rusal's side in the white jersey here, when you see him turn around, we're seeing Martin, you see him hit inside his marks on there. Now, where that's going to play a big factor is when he goes to drive that off, the block did not meet perfectly in the middle with his hits, and that's why you saw it take him 3 to 4 more hits to come off. As well, you saw the miscue by Koen Martens with a step off the log, also cost him a second. So very tough being the first athlete out of the gate.
Yeah, that's a hard one as well, because they've got to set everybody up with the way the logs are working, as you mentioned. And yeah, I mean, great job by both of these gentlemen to get us ready to go. And while we were talking, the stage crew has already gotten those new logs up there. It's always amazing to me how quickly they get that stuff done and taken care of.
Yeah, the NASCAR crew at Timbersports getting the job done in a hurry as we see Sweden and Germany about to take the stage for the next heat of the underhand.
Yeah, coming up next, we're going to see Sweden's Sverre Svan, who is very strong in this particular discipline, and Danny Marr joining him on stage.
Yeah, Sverre Svan and Danny Marr both consider this their strongest event. You know, but again, we see nearly identical personal best times at 23:70 for Sverre Svan and a 23:66 for Danny Marr. Now the wood, fairly consistent, but it's not just falling apart. You saw these athletes have a little bit of a tough time getting those final fibers. So we'll see what these two athletes do to approach this underhand.
Couple of practice swings there by Germany's Danny Marr as he gets ready and makes sure that he has everything physically and mentally lined up. A lot of muscle memory here playing a role, as well as that mental preparation. All right, here we go.
Ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Quick start by Barry Swan. Wow, he is looking really fast. He's pacing quickly. Danny Marr taking those big, strong hits, but Barry Swan moving over to the other side very fast. Big slabs coming off that block. It should be a good time for Barry Swan here. He gets stuck. Oh, 2 times. Oh, he steps down. Big problems there as he gets it finally off. Nice time for Barry Swan. We don't have it stopped yet, though. I don't know why the clock didn't stop for Barry Swan. Quick check by Andy Hall on the block to make sure everything is okay. I don't see a thumbs up, but I also don't see a flag on the play. But the time is still running now on our screen, sir. I don't know what's happened here.
I did see it come off. Barry Swan came off in about 19 seconds, which is nearly 4.5 to 5 seconds quicker than his personal best. So he's got to be happy with that. He had the pace. Unfortunately, he stepped off the block, but he was still able to recover, and he'll probably take the lead, providing any no flags on the play.
All right, this has fine. The time has finally stopped here. 19.28, and both cuts are good, as we hear from the judge there, Andy Hall. So 19.28 seconds, just ahead of Martin Roussel, who is sitting in second at the moment with 24.20. Both of those guys with personal best, and a breath of relief by Barry Swan there, or just before, actually, as he gets ready to go, calming himself, perhaps.
And not just ahead of him, 5 seconds ahead of Martin Roussel. So there you see the miscues by Martin. And maybe that played to Ferry's advantage. He was able to see the technique that Martin Roussel took and make adjustments accordingly. You saw the pace of Barry Swan. He knew the wood was a little bit firmer, and he's not necessarily a power athlete, but he's placing that axe perfectly in the wood each time, and he kept the pace going. A couple of miss hits, and you'll see here, he gets a little excited thinking it was going to come off there, but a little bit of wood hung in the center of that block, so that cost him 1 extra blow. We'll see if that plays a factor down the road.
Just a toenail holding those 2 pieces of wood together, but he had it done in pretty good time, actually, and had he been a bit more efficient, as you say, with his hits, he might have had even a better time, maybe down around the 19 or 18 and change mark.
And I don't consider myself a psychic by any means, but I predict we may see the personal best time fall in this next heat.
I hope so. All right, coming onto the stage now, Elgin Pugh from Great Britain going up against New Zealand, Shane Jordan. Now, we saw Shane Jordan having a really good team competition yesterday. He was more or less responsible for the standing block chop, which he was solid on yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they switched around quite a lot, tactically speaking. Elgin Pugh, he's a power hitter. He also has good accuracy with the experience he has.
Now, you see Shane's personal best here at 19.9 seconds. I'm not sure where that comes from. I predict Shane to cut this closer to 14 to 15 seconds.
Wow.
I don't have any money, so I'm not betting, because that has been going a little sideways for me as well, but predict a new possible winner in this event.
Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good pace by Shane Jordan. Elgin Pugh keeping also pretty good pace. Is it just me? I was just going to say, is it just me, or is he going a little bit deeper on that back pocket as Elgin Pugh now flips over to the other side, and Shane Jordan's already over there. It looks like Shane Jordan's struggling to find that block and break it. Oh, how close was that? A 22.51 to a 22.02. Very, very tight heat there. And yeah, that's your money gone out the window there.
Definitely. Now, I started with no money and I leave with no money. But there you see that is one of the things in timber sports. The wood that we chop, everything is done to keep these blocks consistent. All the blocks for this event came out of one tree. That's about as even as we can get it, but the athletes do draw for blocks at the meeting in the morning. The blocks at the top of that tree are going to be softer than the blocks at the bottom of that tree. Now, looking at how those just cut there, I would nearly say that Elgin had the one at the top. You saw the chips exploding out of there. Shane possibly had the butt log.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
And it is, like you say, a lottery for who gets what logs. And yeah.
But that's a very, very tough thing for an athlete of Shane's caliber to start off with an underhand cut like that, because he is much more capable than that time would prove to be. As we see in the replay here, you see the chips exploding out of Elgin's block. We look over at Shane's, and he's hitting that thing with everything he's got. One of the best underhand cutters in the world, but it just wasn't doing anything. Now, that could be the block, or it could have been the choice of axe as well. You saw no chips come out on that hit. So we'll have to have a talk with him later and find out just what happened.
It was a little deep on that blow as well, and it seemed like he got down farther in the block than he wanted to. It was a real close heat between these two guys, actually, and Elgin Pugh holding his own. But I was surprised after you said he should cut a 14-15 second, and they're up around the 20-22 mark. So, you know, Shane Jordan currently sitting in second place with Elgin Pugh in third. And
but you know, we've only had 3 heats go so far.
Yeah.
And him to sit second at this point, you know, we've got Ben and Michael Dubicki coming up. Christoph Geisler, Cassidy Shear.
Yeah.
2 consistent guys we're about to see coming up. I wouldn't expect any blazing times, but possible new leaders.
Well, you did mention that Cassidy Shear has taken 2 years to get to this position here, and I was talking to a few of the American team guys, and they were all like, wow, this guy is amazing. So we're expecting big things from Cassidy Shear, but he's going up against a legend in Christoph Geisler as they both come onto the stage. Christoph Geisler from Switzerland on the stage left as you see him preparing his axe and getting his first few practice swings in. Cassidy Shear there with that party in the back, business in the front, and he's going to be all about the business here. But he seems pretty relaxed all in all, giving the camera the old winky eyebrows as they were introducing everybody. He's very confident.
I'll give you a little background on Cassidy right after we watch this event take place.
Ready.
All right, here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, huge hookup by Cassidy Shear, giving a big advantage.
Look at the chips flying out of Cassidy Shear's block. He's drawn another good one. If he can get under 20 seconds, he's going to give himself an awesome chance going forward here.
And he's already moved over to the other side, but Christoph Geisler moved right there with him. Christoph Geisler,
he's off.
massive hits there. And that is a great time of 18:58, moves into the lead, but Christoph Geisler with a 21:06 unofficially sitting now in third place. So Cassidy Shear in the lead. Barry Swan moves down into second place, and Christoph Geisler sneaks in between Shane Jordan and Barry Swan in third place.
It looks like no flags on the play, but Cassidy Shear actually took the exact same route to Timbersports as I did. He was actually a speed climber before he got into this, climbing the big tall poles, but just a natural athlete, and he's applied that to get to where he is today.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
And we saw that axe get hooked up really big time on that first blow. Imagine, had that not happened for him, he might have been a second to 2 seconds faster.
Yeah, he's guaranteed himself no worse than 6th place. So that is a good start for him, but as we see the slow motion replay here, as we see the flow, as Cassidy Shear comes down, a lot of power in that first hit, but having a big hang up like that, he possibly just wasted 1 to 2 seconds right there. But what that also does, it throws off your rhythm going forward and just makes it a little bit difficult to get going. We saw him put 9 to 10 hits in the front and get around. He did have the block to get the win, but he would have liked to have seen that time a little bit closer to maybe 16, 17 seconds. It's what he was capable of.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting and a nice start for Cassidy Shear, even with that big hookup. Great job by him, and as well by Christoph Geisler, the legend, still playing and still definitely relative, but I think maybe that Minnesota hockey hair is helping out Cassidy Shear a little bit like Samson.
Yeah, as you see Cassidy's mom there, Tina Shear, on auntie actually. But you see Cassidy's dad on the left, Fred Shear, both actually legends in logger sports back in America. You want to see a show, though. You're about to watch one.
All right, well, we're going to go down to Dave Jewett, who's going to analyze this back-to-back, side-by-side. All right, thank you to Dave Jewett for taking care of that side-by-side analysis. You'll be hearing from him regularly throughout the evening. And that's a new tool that we're using here at the STIHL Timbersports World Championship Series so that we can really see what athletes athletes compare to each other as far as time. Now, coming onto the stage, we've got Poland's Mikkel Dubicki on stand number 2 over there. Big boy, plenty of power, and we saw Team Poland yesterday were absolutely fantastic. And then we've got Ben Cumberland. I mean, he's a teammate of yours. You can talk more about Ben Cumberland, but from what I saw yesterday, he is going to be a solid competitor in this discipline.
Yeah, we got Captain Canada taking on the Polish Punisher here. Now, Ben is one of the most technically sound axemen that I've actually ever seen. A beautiful technique. Mikkel Dubicki, head down, and he just goes for it.
He's all power.
He will have the quickest cadence you'll see of any athlete here today.
Ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, a little delay by Mikkel Dubicki to get started. And wow, Ben just going at it. Nice pace, Dubicki.
9 hits in the front.
Oh, wow.
Ben is going for it. A good turn. He's reaching nice and low. He's got a bit of work to do, but he's going for the drive. He's going to have it. He's got it.
Oh, my goodness, in a time of 15:99. That's a personal best and the fastest time so far. Fantastic. Mikkel Dubicki, he's got a 20.70. So he slips down into 4th place. Good showing by Ben Cumberland, though. Fantastic at 15.99.
That was amazing. Ben just cut to his full potential. He's going to be happy with that. Now, our Canadian champion this year was actually his brother, Nathan Cumberland. But Nathan had, for personal reasons, decided not to come, handed off to the reins to the reserve champion, Ben Cumberland. So you know, Nathan and the rest of the family is at home watching him, as proud as ever.
Good job.
Yeah.
You should have bet there, hey?
Oh, man.
Okay, congratulations. Both guys are good.
All right, so big congratulations to Ben Cumberland. At the moment, with 2 athletes still to go in this first round, he has a good, solid chance to stay out there in the lead. But we got Braden Meyer coming up in the next heat. Let's analyze
See the
this
replay here. Now, Mikkel Dubicki had a bit of an issue. He went to start a little bit early. That threw off his rhythm, but Ben Cumberland, technically perfect as you watch him reach to the bottom of those fibers. A beautiful cut, 9 hits in the front, had a perfectly technical turn. He got around, no sticks in the front, and that's what he's looking for, is to not throw off his rhythm. As you see Ben make the turn here, going around to the back, and not a stick on the first hit either, which you'll see a lot of athletes do. As they turn around, they're gonna be a little bit off balance. And you see Ben here, you know he's cut this block 100 times in his head, and when it comes off, just as you envisioned it, that's a happy camper right there.
And interestingly enough, he looked over at Mikkel Dubicki's time screen, and it was at 17, and he was still happy with that. When he turned around and looked at his at 15, he was like, oh my God, yes. So a great job by Ben Cumberland. And now our next 2 competitors come out onto the stage. And the one guy that I'm really impressed by is Braden Meyer, who I haven't seen anybody really hammer an underhand chop quite like Braden Meyer since I saw him at the Champions Trophy in Austria a few years ago, and this kid is just incredible.
The last time we saw Braden Myers on the individual world championship stage, which is Poland, back in 2015, he actually did break that world record, the new time currently standing at 12.39 seconds. I don't know if we quite have the wood for that to happen again, but he's still riding off the high of Australia's gold medal run yesterday in the team.
Yeah,
he did cut the underhand, and he was instrumental in bringing home that gold for the team, as he has been every single year. So if we're going to see a world record, it's that man on stand B that's going to give it to us.
All right, Pierre Pouy-Barret on stand A in the blue. Let's go.
Athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, watch the pace that he uses. Oh my God.
8 hits in the front.
Unbelievable.
He's around at the 7-second mark. He's going for it. It's Braden Myers going for the drive, looking for the win.
14.47 takes over the top spot. Unofficially, Pierre Pouy-Barret just over 23 now. Struggling to get those final blows going down here. Oh, Pierre having a lot of trouble. One last hit will do it for him. Unfortunate time for Pierre. 31 seconds as he is dead last at this point in time. Oh man, but Braden Meyer, you said it was like a 7-hit one side, and that is unbelievable, moving around to the other side so quickly.
Yeah, and that was just a run-of-the-mill, nothing special cut for Braden Myers. He knew he just had to go out, and he just had to get the job done. He didn't have to go out and try and break any records. He was going for the points, and that's what he's done.
Okay, congratulations. Both guns are good.
And gets a face full of industrial smoke down there as the cannons go off to celebrate an absolutely amazing, I mean, just look at this here.
The man woke up with his Vegemite sandwiches this morning. You see him put 8 hits in the front, the least of any of our athletes, but he had done the work on the front. He was ready to go around the back. He did not rush that. And then around to the back, you saw him just go in and finish the job that he had started. As you see the mow rippling under the extreme muscular pressure he is applying to that axe. Technically sound, one of the best, if not the best underhand cutters in the world. You just got to watch in action right there.
You're killing me over here, Sterling. It's amazing.
You know where you just keep talking yourself into a hole, but you don't know how to get out? I just get myself a bigger shovel,
digging,
and I keep on digging.
Axe and shovel in this case. All right, great job by Braden Meyer. Drop down the time is official now at 14.25. Ben Cumberland in second place with a 15.72. Cassidy Shear with an 18.28 and Ferry Swan with a 19.28. And those are the 4 guys that are currently under the 20-second mark here as we've gone through the first heat here. And we see where the guys are placing. Now, there's 12 athletes in the first round here. They'll go through underhand chop, stock saw, and standing block chop. And each one of these guys will get, according to their position, the number of points where they're standing. So right now, Braden Meyer has 12 points, Ben Cumberland 11, Cassidy Shear 10, Ferry Swan 9, so on and so forth. And again, we're going to take a side-by-side analysis, this time going down to Super Dave Jewett to guide us through that analysis on this side-by-side.
Well, obviously, he's got the mow and he's ready to go. So
it is Movember after all.
You're darn right. Now, as we were reminded at the beginning of our broadcast, after our first 3 events, being the underhand, the stock saw, and the standing block, we will say goodbye to 4 of our athletes. Correct, right? So they're going to want to try and get every single point
M stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7